Welcome learners to the EPG Pathshala. The topic that we are going to discuss now is Women in Documentary Films. This module has been divided into two parts. In the first part, we'll be talking about what documentary films are, its different characteristics, and also its different types and uses. In the second part, we'll be talking about the different women issues presented in films and different types of documentary films and also the different filmmakers who contributed in the documentary films. So broadly speaking, in this whole module we'll be talking about different themes. So first of all, we'll talk about the characteristics of documentary films, its origin and its history. Then we'll talk about the different types and uses of documentary films. Also, we'll talk about different women issues portrayed in different documentary films. Then further, we'll talk about the documentary films made by women filmmakers, and then the whole portrayal of women in the documentary films. And towards the end, we'll talk about some of the documentary filmmakers. So let us proceed with this module and first of all talk about what documentary films are. First of all, when we talk about documentary films, in the world of cinema, most of the films relate fictional stories that feature fictitious characters. It is an art form that tries to portray the real world through fiction. A documentary is a non-fictional film that tries to portray reality through reality itself. Unlike the fictional movies, a documentary is not made for the sole purpose of profit making. Documentaries are of different types and have various purposes, of all of which we'll learn in this module. These films have been extensively used for social activism and for purposes of women empowerment. We'll also get to know about this when we'll talk about the women filmmakers who have contributed to women empowerment through their documentaries. Now let us talk about the characteristics of documentary films. A documentary film is a real-life, non-fictional motion picture, unlike the conventional fictional movies that we usually see. Learners, we must understand one thing, that the people in documentary film are not acting or pretending to be someone else. They are just being their real selves. Documentary films are usually made with a purpose to document some information or maintain a record of some aspect of reality. There are no elaborate sets in documentary films, not much attention is paid to aesthetical perfection, and the aim is to show things as they really are. Documentaries traditionally have a voice-over narration where a narrator reads a script but does not appear on the screen while doing so. Let us talk about the origin and history of documentary films. The original idea behind a documentary film was to exploit the potential of cinema in a new and superior way, to capture the aspects of reality not through a fictional but through an original and non-fictional way, to have characters that are not really acting or playing an artificial role. So, when you talk about its origin, it was actually John Grierson, a famous Scottish documentarian of the early 20th century, who described documentary filmmaking as treating actuality with creativity. He is also believed to have coined the term documentary, which comes from the word document, in 1926. Pare Lawrence, a famous American film critic, defines a documentary film as one which is factual but also dramatic. Let us proceed further, learners, to discuss about the different types of documentaries. Documentary films can be broadly divided, or we can say classified, into 5 different types. First of all, let us know what those types are, then we'll discuss it one by one. Those five different types of documentary films are expository documentary, observational documentary, participatory documentary, reflexive documentary, and performative documentary. Now let us discuss all the types of documentaries one by one. First of all, expository documentary. These documentaries propose a strong point of view and a decisive message to the audience. These are not made to explore an issue but to further an argument. They usually have a strong voiceover narration in the background which tells the audience what is going on in the film and how to interpret it. In these documentaries, rarely any room is left for the imagination of the viewer. The images are only to support what the narrator is saying. Now let us discuss the second type of documentary, which is observational documentary. As the name suggests, in this type of documentary, the camera just observes the external world, nature, city, people, etc., and a deliberate effort is made by the filmmaker not to interfere with what is being captured by the camera. Filmmakers usually avoid using a voiceover in such documentaries. Now, the third kind of documentary is participatory documentary. In this documentary, filmmakers believe that just the act of filming alters what is being filmed. So, rather than just holding the camera, filmmakers fully participate with the subjects of the film and can be seen as well as heard from narration. The fourth kind of documentary is reflexive documentary. These documentaries draw attention to themselves from a meta level. That is, they draw attention to their own authenticity and the manner in which they are made. The idea is to make us question how accurately documentaries represent the external world. Now, the fifth type of documentary is performative documentary. This type of documentaries are meant to make the viewers experience the world from someone else's point of view. That someone else could be a particular person or a suppressed class, minority group, or community. These documentaries contain artificial enactments to relate to the viewers the daily struggles of the subject. Now, learners, let us discuss about the different uses of documentary films. Documentaries are made for various reasons and can have numerous uses. Some of the most common uses are as follows. The most basic use is to document something for further reference, just to have a record of the information and to make improvements upon it. Documentaries are also used as instruction manuals. Doctors use to record various medical procedures to tutor the students. A documentary can also be made from a purely cinematic point of view to publish it just as an art form. For example, a documentary showcasing the natural beauty of planet Earth. Expository documentaries are used during wars to promote political propaganda. They can be used to promote conspiracy theories, bust myths or show systemic faults within established institutions, structure, and organizations. For example, JITSIST and Fahrenheit 9/11. Now, let us proceed towards the another heading, which is documentaries as a tool for women empowerment. Documentary filmmaking is a tremendous weapon of social activism. Social change is a well-established genre of documentary films. Every year, dozens of successful documentaries come up that enjoy national and international acclaim. Within the genre of social change, a substantial number of documentaries address women's issues in all kinds of societies in an effort to promote gender sensitization and women empowerment. So let us discuss about those issues. First of all, gender inequality. Gender inequality means treating people differently based on their gender. It implies women being at a disadvantage, obstructing their growth in different spheres of life. It also refers to stereotyping and defining the roles of women in society. A typical example is assuming the role of a housewife for every woman. The second issue which is put in different documentaries is misleading and underrepresentation of women. The documentary that takes up this issue head on is Misrepresentation 2011. The amusing wordplay in the title is worth noticing. This film shows how women hold very few positions of power as compared to men and how the whole notion of a powerful woman is portrayed misleading in the media. The third issue, which is found in different documentary films, are women's safety. This is probably the biggest concern of Indian women today. They do not feel safe and cannot move around freely, especially after dark. Due to the lack of safety, they face huge restrictions from within the family when it comes to going out alone. Eve teasing and rapes are rampant in India, which is the reason why women feel so unsafe. The BBC documentary India's Daughter 2015 is arguably the most popular film related to this issue. It explores the mindset and values of Indian society after the gang rape and murder of a 23-year-old woman who was a medical student. The excerpts of the documentary before the actual release and the rumors about how the movie was made created a big controversy. As a result, the film was not allowed to release and was legally banned by the government in India. Let us now discuss different films showcasing success stories of women. So the portrayal of women in most documentary films seems to have. Now let us discuss different films showcasing success stories of women. The portrayal of women in most documentary films seems to have two major objectives. First is to address the issue faced by them in the society and to devise methods to tackle the problems. The second is to popularize the success of those women who have achieved great heights in fields that have been dominated by men for a long time. So, women are either portrayed as victims of the society or as courageous achievers. Learners, you should know that both the portrayals are totally opposite of each other, but both are crucial for empowering women. So let us know about some of the films which showcase the success stories of women. First of all, let's talk about Scattered Windows, Connected Doors. It was released in 2013. This documentary is a series of conversations with eight women living in urban India, belonging to different age groups and successful in their respective professions. It shows the meaning of being a woman in urban India and how these women have broken the stereotypes and changed the rules of living to define themselves. Second is Dream Girl, 2015. It showcases the success of 12 women entrepreneurs from across the globe who are skilled administrators and strong leaders. The aim of the film is to inspire women to start their own business. The third kind of film is Gulabi Gang. It was released in 2012. A group of fiery women in Bundelkhand, India, come together and form the Gulabi Gang to fight domestic abuse and violence against women. They visit the husbands who abuse their wives and beat them with bamboo sticks. Once their gang acquires a substantial size, these women also take up the issue of caste discrimination and corruption. The fourth documentary is Born into Brothels. It was released in 2004. This is an Oscar winning documentary in which Zana Brinsky, a documentary photographer, tries to capture the scene in Kolkata's red light area. The film shows Zana interacting with the children of the prostitutes and teaching the kids basics of photography so that they can capture the situation of the area themselves and in the process have a chance at a better future. Saving The fifth documentary film which we'll talk about is Saving Face, which was released in 2012. The main objective of this documentary is to spread awareness about the horrific crime of acid attacks in Pakistan. It was an Oscar it won an Oscar in the category of short documentary. This film provides some sort of hope and inspiration by showing the rehabilitation process of acid attack survivors and the efforts of the activists to tackle this problem. Now let us discuss about some of the women filmmakers who made their mark in the area of documentary filmmaking. The first name is Nisha Pahuja. She is the director and writer of groundbreaking documentaries like The World Before Her in 2012, Diamond Road, which was released in 2007, and Bollywood Bound, which came in 2003. She was born in 1978 in New Delhi and raised in Canada. She is an independent filmmaker whose works mostly concentrate on portrayal of women in Indian mass media and the limited opportunities they have with respect to having a successful career. She has won numerous awards both on national and international platforms. Second filmmaker is Deepa Dhanraj. She is an award-winning documentary filmmaker who has been actively working for women empowerment since 1980. Deepa has an experience of nearly 3 decades in documentary filmmaking. Enough of This Silence, which was released in 2008, The Advocate 2007, Nari Adalat 2000, Itta Hejje Mundakka Thegiya Bedri Hindakka 1995, The Legacy of Malthus 1994, Something Like a War 1991, Kya Hua Is Shehar Ko 1986, and Sudesha 1983 are a few of her films. Her films have been showcased in numerous film festivals worldwide. Now let us know about the third documentary filmmaker, Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy. She is a Pakistani journalist and documentary filmmaker. She has won an Oscar for her documentary Saving Face 2012 and an Emmy for Pakistan Children of the Taliban 2010. She was included in the Times Magazine's list of 100 most influential people of the world in 2012. The fourth documentary filmmaker in this list is Zahan Nuzam. Winning an Oscar for her film The Square 2013, Zahan is an Egyptian-American documentary filmmaker whose other popular documentaries are Pangea Day 2006, Control Room 2004, and Startup.com 2001. She is a highly successful filmmaker who has made documentaries related to a variety of fields such as media, war, and business. The fifth documentary filmmaker in this list is Jennifer Siebel Newsom. She is an American documentary filmmaker and the director and writer of the famous documentary Misrepresentation 2011. She is a graduate of Stanford University and has also acted in many Hollywood films and TV serials. Let us now have some concluding remarks. When I talk about a documentary film, it is a real life non fictional motion picture. The original idea behind the documentary film was to exploit the potential of cinema in a new and superior way, to capture the aspects of reality not through a fictional but through an original and non fictional way. There are five major types of documentaries: expository, observational, participatory, reflexive, and performative. They can be used to record information from instruction manuals, promote propaganda, bust myths, and spread awareness about various social problems. Documentary filmmaking is a tremendous weapon of social activism. It can be used to promote gender sensitization and women empowerment. Numerous documentaries have been made to address issues like gender inequality, misleading and underrepresentation of women, and their outdoor safety. Some of the issues concerning women are also put in the films, which are like numerous short films are made every year on women empowerment conveying strong messages. Meena in 2011 is an award winning short film which shows a young woman domestic help working in the kitchen while her book is kept open on the window sill. It conveys the message that women should be supported in their desire to study and should not be restricted to household work. Vama 2013 is another excellent partially animated short film which uses only shadows on the screen to depict violence and sexual harassment of women. Cough 2015 is a recent short film that addresses the issue of eve teasing. It shows a young woman on the bus dreaming about being harassed by the guy who is actually sitting next to her. So, learners, now we have come up to the end of this whole module, and the different themes that we discussed in this module were the what is first of all documentary. In documentary we talked about that this comes from the word document, which actually documents the reality, where there is no recreation in terms of acting on the screen. Later on, we proceeded further to talk about different types of documentaries. Also, we discussed about the different women issues and different filmmakers who made their mark in the area of documentary filmmaking. So, I hope you have understood all the concepts. Thank you.